What's good, everybody on YouTube? This is your boy Akil McLeod, and I'm a full-time eBay and Poshmark seller. And in today's video, I'm going to share part 2 of what sold on eBay in the month of January. Now, if you guys haven't caught part 1, I'll drop that in the description and in the cards above. But overall, sales on eBay and on Poshmark have been great for me, so I'm sure you guys can learn some new brands and some new tips and tricks. So if you guys are interested in these kind of videos, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright y'all, so starting things off is this old ass Canon PowerShot S5IS. Now this camera was in amazing condition. It worked perfectly. I made sure I took a lot of photos to show the buyer that it worked perfectly. And this camera is so old that it uses batteries, but as you guys can see, this one definitely still has a very high value. I believe I spent $10 for this camera and it sold for full asking price of $70 plus $9 shipping. And I had so many offers for this camera that it was ridiculous. It eventually made me know not to accept any offers. I had offers ranging from $25 to $62, and I just waited to get the full $69. Part of me wanted to raise the price, but I figured $69 was fair since some of the comps were all over the place. I seen comps for this same camera sell for as low as $40 and as high as $100. But the ones that sold for $100 included the box as well as some other accessories. So if you guys see any older cameras, especially some of these Canon cameras, I suggest you still pick them up. I don't think the film cameras have that much value, but these old DSLRs and these old point and shoots are really good cameras still, and people are still looking for them. So definitely pick them up if you can find them. Next up is this pair of MBT brown suede shoes. These are like walk-in shoes. It reminds me of like a Skechers Shape Up. So these were in still really good condition. I picked these up for about $8 from a thrift store that I usually don't go to, but I think I picked these up just to make my trip worthwhile. So these sold for $35. The initial offer I got was I think $25, and then I countered at $35, and they went ahead and just accepted it and paid for it. And these shoes went all the way out to Dublin, Ireland. And in case you guys didn't know, I usually ship all my international orders through the global shipping program. That way it saves me some money via shipping and saving on shipping fees and things like that. The only downside to the global shipping program though is it takes the buyer a long time to receive the item, and I think they have to pay a lot more in fees to get the item. So that's the downside to it, but overall I still sell a lot of stuff internationally. Next is this vintage Harris Tweed blazer, and this was definitely on one of my in my blazer video on some of the best brands to sell. And this one actually didn't have a size tag, but I took the measurements, and you know, sometimes if the blazer doesn't have a size tag in it, I might pass on it, but because this one was in such a good condition, I definitely couldn't leave it alone. And it ended up selling for $60 plus shipping, so this was definitely a good flip for me, and I believe I paid $3 or $4 for this one. Next is these La Sportiva hiking shoes, and I had these for I want to say maybe a month, a little longer than I expected to have these. Only downside to this was that they didn't have any insoles, but they definitely still sold for they didn't sell for full asking price. I believe these sold for $49, so I took $10 off, so not too bad. I actually tried cleaning this black part of the shoe, but that dusty gray just kept coming back. So if you guys pick up these shoes and you're trying to clean them, don't worry about it. It really doesn't affect the overall value of the shoe. But like I said, La Sportiva, I always pick them up because they always sell well. Next up are these Vory Ripstop climbing pants. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that brand correctly, but I just picked these up. They were regular price. No, I'm lying. These are actually $20 in the thrift, but I saw the comps were selling somewhere between like 60, some as high as $80, and the MSRP on these pants was $88. So I just priced them at $69 plus shipping, and they sold for $60 plus shipping. So I was happy about that. I usually don't use a lot of stock images, but because these pants just look really boring without the stock images, I just wanted to include them just to, you know, make them look a little better, make my listing stand out a little more. And like I said, they sold for 60 bucks and it only took about 2 or 3 days. Next up is this Canon Selfie color ink. And I'm not even familiar with the Selfie. I don't know what that is, but it does sell for good money, and so does the ink. And I picked up these in the Goodwill. Both of them were brand new in the box, and I listed them together. I just had to change the quantity, and they both sold to one person, so that was definitely a good deal for me. And even though the shipping was free, both boxes fit in a regional A box, and if I was to sell one by itself, I would have shipped it in a regional A box. So it worked out better for me to sell it to one person. Next up is this Apple keyboard, and I always pick these up anytime I can find them. Sometimes I pay as much as 10 bucks for it, but even though I can only sell it for 30, I always know that they sell super fast, so that's why I always pick them up. And this one was in perfect working condition. I took a picture with one with the light working, and I took another one without the light working. And I actually sold another one of these earlier this month, so I spoke about how I take pictures and stuff like that already. So if you see these Apple keyboards, definitely pick them up because they always sell fast. Next up is this K-Just golf pants, and this was a very slow day in the thrift. I remember picking these up. This was probably the only thing that I picked up that day, and it just made me really sort through the racks and try to find something because I didn't want to leave empty-handed, and I was very happy to find these pants. I never sold this brand before, but something about it stood out to me and made me think it was high quality. And after checking the comps, I seen some sell as high as 70 bucks. So I priced mine somewhere around there, and they sold within about 3 or 4 days. Next up is this Patagonia shirt, and this was, I started to test out promoted listings, and this one actually sold through the promoted listings, and I only put it on 1%, so the fees I had to pay to have it promoted was like 24 cents or something like that, 29 cents. Well, nothing, not a lot of money to have it promoted, and it sold within a day. So I was definitely happy to see that the promoted listings actually worked. Because this is Patagonia, I'm not sure if the actual promoted listings worked because Patagonia shirts always sell well for me. But I actually sold 2 items with promoted listings, so I'll talk about that when I get to it. Next is this brand new HP black toner. I sold these several times in the past. Every time I see them brand new in the box, I'll always pick them up. I actually picked up the last one I sold. I picked that one up for free off of Craigslist because someone was just trying to get rid of it. And these always sell for 50 bucks. I always include the cost of shipping, and it usually costs me about $10 or $11 to ship this one out. So I made some good money after only paying, I think, $4 or $5 for this ink. Next up is this vintage Nike jacket, and this one was in really, really good condition. The buyer actually left a comment. They said everything was as described, but because it was vintage, it fit really, really big. It fit more like an extra large instead of a medium. But I'm pretty sure they're either going to keep it or they're just going to flip it and get their money back. But this was in really good shape, as you guys can see. There was one little minor hole right here because this is where they put the the Goodwill tag in there, but that didn't affect the price too much at all. So definitely be on the lookout for vintage Nike. As you guys know, vintage Nike with the white tag or the gray tag, sometimes it's a blue tag. Those stuff are always hot, so I always pick it up anytime I can find it. Next is this vintage electronic handheld game, and it's not actually vintage, it's just like a reproduction of the vintage game. And I picked this up for 2 bucks. There were several of these on eBay, and I checked the comps, and they were selling for like $25 to $30. So I basically just undercut everybody on the market, and I sold mine for 22 just so it could sell fast, and that actually worked. It sold within 3 or 4 days. Next up is this shirt missing in Maine. I sell a lot of this brand. It's probably one of my favorite brands to sell right now. It used to be Untuckit, but now Missing in Maine has kind of I guess they're on the come up now, so a lot of people are picking these up, and these always sell for at least 50 bucks, sometimes as high as 60 or 70 depending on the size. So definitely be on the lookout for Missing in Maine because it's a very popular brand right now. Next up is this shirt from Bonobos, and I had this listed on eBay and on Poshmark for at least, I want to say, a month and a half, but this sold actually to a viewer, so I was definitely happy about that because I never sold anything. I never knowingly sold anything to someone that watches the channel, so that was cool. Throw in a little thank you note, and I usually don't throw in thank you notes when I sell things on eBay. I don't do that, but because it was a viewer, I definitely just wanted to let that person know that I appreciated their support. So be on the lookout for Bonobos shirts, pants. They always sell well. Here's an Epson Workforce. This is actually like a portable scanner, and it scans in color, so it will go straight to the cloud, whether you're using like Android or Apple. So this was actually really dope, but I have no use for stuff like this. So of course I sold it, and it sold for full asking price. I don't even think I was accepting offers on this item, but $69.99. I paid I think $5 for this, and just an overall really great flip. Next up is this Nike Air Max Dynasty, and these sold for $39.99. So I was definitely happy about that, because this is my first time selling this Nike Air Max style. But I don't know, I thought it was going to be worth a lot more money when I picked it up originally, but I just priced mine a little higher because it were in really good condition, so that definitely just worked out good for me. So if you guys see any of these Nike Max Dynasties, pick them up and price them anywhere between $25 to $40, but if it's in a good condition, you'll probably get $40 like I did. Next is this pair of In Kotex dress pants. Now, In Kotex, I don't find them often, but every time I do, they usually sell pretty fast. And this pair sold within about a month, and it sold for $40. The thing about In Kotex, the brand, the value of it kind of fluctuates. Sometimes these sell for a lot of money, and then other times the value just goes down and it's in a slump for a few months. But I always pick it up because they still sell for decent money, and I picked these up for $6 and they sold for $40. Next is this vintage Tyrolia ski suit, and I had this for at least 6 months. It was in my inventory just basically collecting dust, but it was really, really dope. I thought it was cool. It took a long time to sell, so I eventually accepted a best offer of $75, and these actually went all the way to, I don't remember, maybe Australia or something. I don't remember exactly where these went, but I know this was also an international order. So, yeah, definitely pick up Tyrolia ski suits if you see them, and definitely consider joining the global shipping program or just trying to sell things internationally, because that market is definitely sometimes untapped. So there's definitely a lot of money to be made shipping things internationally. Next is this Eileen Fisher baby alpaca coat, and this one was in amazing condition, practically brand new. The other comps for this jacket sold for about $75. I seen some sell for a little less, some sold for about $50, but I priced mine higher only because of the condition, and the size was really small, so I figured it would be kind of rare. And it ended up selling for $75 plus shipping. So I was definitely happy to see that it sold, and it sold fairly quickly, because at this point, if I'm not letting go of jackets within a month, sooner or later it's going to become very stale inventory. So every jacket that I get at this point, I'm trying to list them as soon as possible and just get them sold, because once the season changes, they're going to be stale inventory. And last but certainly not least, the sale of the day is this Brioni Cashmere Blazer. Now, because it is from the brand Brioni and it is cashmere, I priced it on the high side. I priced it for about $219, and it ended up selling for $180. Now, I definitely just wanted to go ahead and accept that, because similar to any other jacket, blazers also have kind of like a tight window to get them sold. Once the weather warms up and it's summertime or even late spring, jackets and blazers just do not sell. You might as well just take the listings down. So I got a good offer for $180 and plus shipping, and I just wanted to make sure I sold it. So I was happy about that sale, and I do believe I spent about $7 or $8 for this. Alright y'all, that's all I have for today's video. So if you guys enjoyed that one, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos. And if you guys have any comments or any questions, drop it in the comment section and I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible. Also, don't forget, I'm going to start doing live shows every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so that's 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So definitely tune in for that, where I'll do a Q&A and just answer some of you guys' questions. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.